Hey, it's Joe Turpel. This is Caught Inside. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Caught Inside. This is the third episode of 7, and it's only day 5 of our Australian quarantine. Today, I am joined by a very special guest on the show. You know him as the Spartan, the Tahitian Prince, Michel Bourez. Yorana, thanks so much for coming on.
Yorana, everyone.
Maite.
Meteiro.
So good. I wish I had more words. Oh, Manuya. What does Manuya mean again?
When you cheers. Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
You should know.
I'm glad. Yeah, I know that one pretty well. Pretty cool, man. I'm so stoked to see you, first of all. How you doing?
Oh, feeling great. Yeah. I just, like every day is the same day, pretty much.
Every day is the same and on repeat. I'm always, when I think about you, I think of your culture, obviously, and how much fun we have every year in Tahiti when you host us all, when we come to town. Do you grow up, just for people out there wondering, do you grow up speaking Tahitian and French just equally the same, or is one kind of more common than the other?
No, we were mixing it up like most of the time, like French and Tahitian, when we grew up. Because you guys have to know, like back in the day, in the 70s, like Tahitians were not supposed to speak in Tahitian at school, like French. They came and they said like, okay, no more like traditions and stuff. No more dancing, no more Tahitian speaking, only French, And after that, like it took a little time for the young community to get back to it,
So really similar to what Hawaii went through as well.
Yeah. I mean, like it's Hawaiians and Tahitian are the same people. Hawaiian came from Reatea, and Reatea is part of the French Polynesia. So it's the same thing. We have the same culture and pretty much the same history.
So with your kids now, are they growing up learning a lot of Tahitian and the culture side is really, really prevalent in their studies?
Yeah, it is. Like wherever we go, like I try to explain to them what's going on, and at school they learn Tahitians as well, and with my mom, and like we start to talk to them a little bit, just a few words would be good for now, and then when they grew up, like start to talk to them like fully, that's how I see things. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Hey, Michel, where were you born exactly?
I was born on an island called Rurutu. It's an island further from Tahiti. It's cold over there. Cold. It's a coldest place compared to Tahiti. But we moved to Tahiti when I was around like a few months, maybe like 6 months, 8 months, and then boom, I live my whole life in Tahiti pretty much. Yeah.
Was it an island that your family would go back to visit? Like, do you still have family there, or is everything really based in Tahiti now?
Everything is based in Tahiti. My dad used to work there, so my mom followed him there. They stayed there for a couple of years, and because my dad is a teacher, so they stayed there. And then when he finished it, boom, they went back to Tahiti.
Ah, very cool. And your father, famous for being a waterman himself, right? A really established outrigger canoe paddler. Is that right?
Yeah. He loved canoe when he was younger. Now he doesn't do it anymore because he has a shoulder problem. But he's a huge fan of any kind of sports, but like soccer or especially how do you say, canoe? Yeah.
That's so cool. What a great upbringing on the water, just like you're doing with your kids these days. I want to dive into this travel scenario because, well, Michel, you're a veteran. You're one of the veterans and the all-stars of the tour, but you've never been in a travel situation quite like this. I noticed a post from one of your best friends, Jeremy Flores, where he was in a situation where he had to actually fly from Tahiti to Paris to Los Angeles, to then Sydney, to get into quarantine. Were you on the same flight route to get here?
Yeah, I was on the same program. So we left on the 26th of February to France. So we landed there on the 28th. We spent like 3 days in Paris in the hotel room because we pretty much were quarantined over there as well. And then boom, straight to Los Angeles, where we spent like 3 to 4 days. I don't even remember. But we tried to stay like low key, we didn't want to get the virus or anything before the flights to here to us. So basically what we did, like we just like going to get food, went back home, sports at home, and that's it, you know. But then we jump on the flight, on the shuttle with all the WSL guys all the way here and straight to that, you know, amazing room.
Wow. So you actually had a warm-up quarantine in France to kind of get yourself settled into this one. You guys by far have been through the most to get to where you are today. I mean, even though today's day 5, you already had a few days of quarantine behind you, man. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, insane. Because especially when you know, like to come to Sydney, it only takes 7 hours from Tahiti, you know. So we have to do like 20 hours and then back to 10 hours and then 15 again. You know, it's the longest flight you could ever have. That's
like staying by Kira and you want to check Snapper and you drive to Bell's first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my. Fully. Well, I love that you've got a big smile on your face and you're going with the flow. You've got your whole family with you. I'm sure that helps a lot as well. But also, I can't imagine with your boys how you're managing their energy and kind of their expectations as well. Kind of, you're obviously in this with your own mindset of preparing, but being a dad and letting them know, hey, we've got a few more days of this. Are they doing okay? And how's that been for you?
You know, the kids are pretty easy. I thought it would have been hard, but it's actually easier for them compared to us, you know, because they don't really understand what's going on. They just like go with the flow. They just like, okay, whatever, wake up, we do whatever dad says, you know. So I already told them we're going to stay 14 days here and we're going to work like school days every day for like 3 hours. That's what we do when we as soon as we wake up, like from 9 to 12, it's school day. And then after that, they can do whatever they want, you know? So it's pretty much basic days for them, but just by staying in the same room.
And your wife's a teacher by trade, right?
Yeah.
So that's nice. She can be the teacher, lesson plans, and make sure that they're learning and staying educated on the road.
True. Because it's pretty difficult because I don't really know. It's like their how do you say, their homework are pretty easy, but to explain to them how it works, how to understand, to make them understand, it's the hardest part, you know. So it's hard as a dad. I've never done that before. Like I've been yelling at my kids, man. They hate me already, man. So sometimes, like when I get too nervous or whatever, I just like we just switch. My wife does it, and you know.
Dad's got to wear a lot of hats. I mean, first you're Michel Bourez, the athlete. And do you have like an alter ego as a dad where the Spartan comes in? The Spartan is the disciplinarian. When that comes out of you, you're like, I am Spartan. Listen, do your homework today.
Oh, yeah. Like every day is the same thing. Yeah, I'm like that with them, man. It's, you know, I have to show them what's, how do you say, what's a good way to think, you know, like responsibilities, you know, like to be responsible. And I want them to understand that. I want them to learn how to deserve to get something, you know, like, for example, they want a present, they want to play something, you know, I'm like, hey, you want this? You got to do that first, you know. I want you to know that dad wants the best for you, but I want you to be the best first, you know. So that's what I do with them every day.
That's beautiful. Is that how you were raised, in a similar way, where it was nice, disciplined, but you knew that you had to earn your rewards growing up as well?
Yeah. It's more like, you know, like basic stuff at home, you know, like my dad always like teach us to respect everyone, to be nice to everyone, to how do you say, to my dad and mom, sorry, and to do whatever it takes to succeed and just to be a good example, you know. So, and then after that, by traveling, you know, life gives you, like, even on the hard way, like to make you understand how hard it is to succeed and how good you get when you succeed. So, you know, it's part of life, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, you've surfed in a lot of events, Michel, established on tour. When nowadays in 2021, we think of yourself, you know, Ace, your buddy Jeremy, Adriano, obviously Kelly, as the elder statesman on tour, but now your prep is totally different coming into this event. You've got a little Red Bull athlete zone here in your quarantine room with a bike, a rower. I think you did a workout already this morning. Can you let us know what you did?
No, not this morning. I did work out. I did it last night. I usually like work out around noon. I did 1 hour workout and then one in 1 hour and a half in the afternoon around like 5, just to do something. But I usually do the bike. I bike for like 45 minutes and jumping rope for like 15 minutes just to like, not a warm up, but just like to sweat. I like to sweat a lot. And after that, just like some lifting weights and some abs, some, like simple stuff, like push-ups, like whatever it takes to for my body, like some squats as well, because we don't really do anything. So I need to stay focused on that. A lot of cardio too. And when everything's done, little stretch, day's over.
That's great. I remember asking Andy King once, it was like, well, how do you keep Michel in shape? And he's like, that's him, man. I think he was born that way. It's genetics, but it looks like you have a pretty serious routine. Do you think you're working out more than you would when you're prepping for an event since you're in this space and you can't surf? Or do you feel like it's a similar amount of training that you normally do, even if you could go outside?
Usually before I train for, like at the beginning of the year, I take like 2 months, out of everything. I just go in my bubble. Like I train a lot, I surf a lot. I only take care of myself and my family. No more parties, no more friends or whatever. I go jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. I go train jiu-jitsu with my friends still, but that's it. It stops there. But over here, the good thing is I can focus only on by myself. I know the kids are good. Their schools are good. Everything we have to do with them are, set. So now I can focus on myself. And I remember like doing, that's what I was doing yesterday. I was doing a bicycle. And I put some of my hits. I was just watching like some old hits that I've done before, and just to stay in the rhythm, like just to stay focused and stuff. And I feel like that's to get back on the competition mode. That's the best thing right now for me. Yeah.
It's so cool when you bring up some old heats, because I have some favorites for you that I like to rewatch in your career. But I want to know yours. What are some of those ones that you play on repeat to get that healthy competitive energy going?
Oh, definitely the Bali contest. It's it's a wave that I really like. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so good, man. Your clips there are unbelievable.
Yeah. It's I just feel like the wave is is such an amazing wave, and the ride is powerful and inspiring and turns, and it's everything that my surfing likes, so that one and Haleiwa, whoa.
Those are amazing, man, especially when you repeated success at Karamas, which felt sort of like kind of a wild card event. It hasn't been there every year, and when it showed up, you had just a direct connection with that new spot on tour where, there's this kind of familiarity with repeat events that you go to with the traditions involved in them. And I felt like you really adapted to that kind of spontaneous event environment. I mean, even back in the Search Series event that Rip Curl put on in Puerto Rico, you had a semifinal there. So it seemed to be a strength when you walk in with a clean slate and you could turn in success.
Yeah. Even Margaret River, when he first comes on tour, like as you say, it's a good, every time there's a new event, it always been working out good for me. I've done like semifinals, like finals, and I won Margaret the first event ever. So to me, like it's a good opportunity because it's new for everyone. I don't know. I have that connection with I can learn maybe faster in a new place, but definitely it's just because it's a ride and it's powerful. It helped me a lot. Yeah.
Really looking at what we have in front of us, getting out of the quarantine, surfing again, but looking at the list of events, it has that fresh feeling at a lot of the venues. I mean, even for someone like you were always able to not only have longevity on tour, but you could rely on your CT performances to stay on tour. So it wasn't like you were going to Newcastle all the time. You weren't in that region where North Narrabeen is. And then we've got Rottnest Island. We've got a lot of these opportunities where everyone is going to be trying to figure out things on the fly. Are you excited about this 4-event series that's about to start?
I'm super happy, man. You can't even imagine. Especially like as soon as we had the green light from WSL saying like, okay, it's on, you know? When they said like, okay, it's on, like it was probably like 2 weeks before we left. That's when my mind went completely like open. You know, I was like, whoa, finally I know where I'm going now. You know, I have goals in my life right now. So when I knew about Meriwether, I didn't know about that wave. I never come here before. And then Narrabeen, I got second there at the World Junior once. And, you know, to me, like especially to come here in Australia, the weather is nice. The people are good. The waves are amazing as well. And to bring my family here, it's the best place I could bring them to, you know? So to me, it was a good opportunity.
Sorry, Michel, take me to that North Narrabeen final real quick. Who was in that final with you?
Oh, it was Kiko Abacaso. Bam, bam.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it was a long time ago. Maybe like I was 21, I think. 20. I was 20 years old, so like about 15 years ago. And yeah, it was good. Narrabeen was fun. You know, like I was still a junior. It was a final and got second. So I had the wildcard for all the QS events, the big stars ones. And, you know, that's how I got into like professional surfing more.
That was a quick transition for you. Next thing you know, you're a rookie back in 2009. Noticing too in Hawaii, you had your family with you there. I think one of your sons had a birthday in Hawaii, and then now they're all here with you. Is that been a decision with your family that they're coming with you no matter where the tour ends up this season?
Not really. You know, like seriously, it took me like a full month. You know, after Hawaii, I was thinking way too much about what's going on around the world. You know, as you already know, it's a hard situation for everyone. And I didn't want to bring them here, and because I already had the sickness, I already had the COVID, so it doesn't matter to me anymore. And you know, just to bring them there was more chance for them to get the virus. It took me a little while to digest it, all of that. But I talked a lot with my wife, and we agreed about them to come because it was hard. It was going to be super hard for me if I was alone here for 3 months. You know, like for the kids. They don't care, man. They see me in camera like in like 30 seconds. They're good with it. They do their life at home. They don't care. But for me, yeah, 3 months, I don't feel I would have make it, especially that time. You know, like this time, like it's I'm getting close to the end of my career. So it's getting hard to get like more motivations and stuff. And when I have them with me, well, everything gets easier.
Oh, good to have that system. I'm so happy they're with you to hang through this amazing time in pro surfing. You mentioned how your boys are fine. They can say hi. They know dad's doing his job, but it probably has to do with the special place where they get to call home, you know, life in Tahiti on the water every day. Are they in the water just as much as you are enjoying the ocean in Tahiti?
They not really, not as much, but we're trying to go as much as we can. We live right in front of the water, but it's weird. Like I never grew up in front of the ocean. I grew up like a little bit further, but no, it's just, you know, it's life is different now. You know, like we go in the ocean now and then, but we try to go at Papara, the beach break over there, like in the river where they can play with the other kids and my friend Hira or Steven's kids as well, you know, and they can go surf as well. So it's a bit far from my house. It's like 20 minutes away, but we try to go there like once a week, at least. You know, it's hard when you travel a lot. It's hard for them to like understand what the ocean is. You know, like when I get home, I try to bring them as much as I can in the ocean. But when I'm not home, nobody does my job. So it is what it is.
Of course. So you mentioned some key players that the Globe has been able to see in the surfing spotlight here at Teahupo'o. I think you're talking about Steven Pearson.
Yes, exactly.
As well. How are they doing? And are those the guys that you surf with when you are home?
Um, they good. They good. Hira is the French coach for the Olympics in the Paris Olympics in 2024. So we've been working like most of the time when I'm home, like filming and stuff. Steven is has his home how do you say, like surf school back at home. He takes really good care of these two kids as well, and he's doing great. Like everything's perfect for him at home.
Oh, that's so great to hear. It's such a special community for you guys, and you've been representing all of Tahiti for so long, which, you know, you brought up the Olympics coming up later, which could be right around the corner from where you live, which would be amazing to see the world really focus on this amazing event we've had on tour for a very long time, which brings me to this question, Michel. I remember, gosh, 2010, I saw you, you're going really quick. We're going like, okay, help us pronounce, you know, what we first heard as Chopu. And then we started saying, no, it's an O, Chopo. And I remember you were laughing at us. You're like, you better just say Chopes, you know, like, because it had so many nicknames. Now time has gone on and we have these meetings going. We want to say it perfectly right. And we've kind of landed on Chopo. How do you want us to really pronounce it? And how should it be heard?
Normally we call, Teahupo'o.
Is that what you say with your friends when you're going surfing? Do you say that, or is it more of a nickname? Do you shorten it?
No. I don't say nicknames anymore. You know, I don't know. I feel like I rather say the real name, you know, especially for my kids. Like I try to pronounce every Tahitian like names like properly for them to understand, you know. Like for example, Moorea, which is the next island. A lot of the people now say Moz, you know, I'm going to Moz. You know, and when I talk to them, I'm like, no, we're going to Moorea, you know. There's Ta'apuna. People say taps. Are we going to surf taps? And I always say, no, we go surf Ta'apuna. I go surf Teahupo'o. That's the real pronunciation, you know. It's just for them to understand what's real and what's not. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Michel. So I'm going to give it a shot. Teahupo'o.
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 Yes.
Okay, great. That from now on, that's all I'm going to work on, because I think we're taking the ch out of it. Teahupo'o. I'm going to practice that. Yes. Excellent, man. What a beautiful world. Gosh, such a big impact on the surfing world is this quiet little community that we always referenced as the end of the road, because the road literally does stop there. But it's changed quite a bit. I mean, there wasn't a lot of surfers that lived out there. It was just like even yourself driving in, driving back home. It seems like all that's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah. People start to realize how there's the potential of that wave, you know, like especially the kids, the family, the parents that bring their kids all the way to Teahupo'o and live there. You know, like there's a lot of young generations. They all come from around Teahupo'o now. There's a Kaoli Vast, you know, he's a European champion. And there's other little girls. There's Vahine Fierud. She's from another island, but she lives in Teahupo'o as well. You know, they all moved there because they understood the potential of that wave. In Tahiti, there's only one wave that matters, and that's it. That's the one.
So now it's turning into that same kind of energy that's always been around Pipeline. You have to live there. You have to surf there and put in that time. All the young kids are out there so early these days. And now we're experiencing that in your home. So that's amazing to see that community change. How has the lineup changed? Now when you go for a free surf, is it as quiet as it used to be?
There's just more locals now, you know, like especially during the COVID situation, the flight were closed and there's nobody from overseas that were going to surf at home, you know. So basically all the locals from town, they understood that and they all came to Teahupo'o to surf as well. That means whenever the swell was good, boom, it was packed of locals. And that's, as to me, it's bad because you have to wait more, you know, like because everybody respect each other, you know. There's more locals, so there's more turns and stuff. But it's good to see different people, different guys that we don't used to see. But at the end of the day, I get my waves, so I'm happy with it.
I mean, I'm sure being a leader in that pack and someone who's been so established for so long at such a dangerous wave, it's amazing that you still, you have so much pride and passion for all of Tahiti and for the wave and for the safety. When I heard during the pandemic, there was a swell coming and you had a big voice saying, hey, let's do the right thing. And for how hard that was for you to do as a passionate surfer who knows how good a swell is going to be at that location. And you actually made a call and said, hey, let's let this swell go by for the safety of our community. And so ultimately that you could get back on the road and do your job.
Yeah, it was tough. I was thinking about that for like a week before that happened. And, everybody was scared, like from watching stuff on internet, like what was going on around the world. And we didn't know what was really going on. So at that point, and I remember like I was talking to my friends and stuff, and I knew, if everybody goes surf Teahupo'o during that day, it will bring more people to come and watch, because we make the show and all the taxi boats will be full of, of tourists, because they all come for an hour. There's like 10, 20 people on the same boat, and they're not from Tahiti. Most of them are not from Tahiti. They come from the plains and stuff. That's the people that brought the virus at home. It's not their fault. That's the way it is, So I was more thinking about, the elders back at home, like in Teahupo'o. Like I was like, wow, imagine like if I go surf, I bring the people and one of the old people that from Teahupo'o get sick because of me, pretty much. So I talked to a few of my friends, they all agreed, and then I did that message. Yeah.
True leader, Michel. So cool to hear it from where we were sitting, of your passion for the community and how much that wave and environment really means to you. You mentioned quickly some of the younger generation that has moved there and is really dedicated to representing on tour. I got to put you on the spot. I know there's a big list, but in your mind, if you could only pick one Tahitian that can qualify for the tour, that has all the skill sets to be there and be a contender, who will it be?
It's tricky because there's two right now. I don't know. I feel like for now, like in my mind right now, maybe Mihimana Brai could be the one, Mihimana. Because we've been surfing a lot together. I've seen like how he surfs now. He improves so much in his surfing and his like mental side as well, and he's been doing a lot of stuff. Like his way is right there. He just need to have a couple comps. So I'm just asking the WSL to bring back, the contest again. But he's the one.
Oh, very cool. We've gotten to see a lot of him, luckily, around the world on the qualifying series and charging big days at Teahupo'o, which is great to see. Also, looking at, your representation on tour. Obviously, before that, you had to get to where you were to qualify to travel around the world. Just by the way you sound, I could tell you really care about the next generation. You're passionate about Tahitian surfing. Who were some of the elders before you that maybe helped you or gave you advice, or were those people around to realize your potential and kind of help you get on the road and realize your dreams?
To tell you the truth, there was always been one guy that helped me my whole life. He used to be my neighbor. Like I used to play with his little brother a lot. His name is Teva Zavironi. He's a soccer player back at home and such a good surfer. He was the best from our place, little town. He was the best surfer out there. So every time when I was going surfing, I was a little kid and I was looking at him surfing. The waves were small, man. It was like 1 to 2 foot max. It never gets bigger than that. But to us, it was huge. But he was ripping out there. And then one day he saw us surfing and he was like, okay, kids, tell your parents tomorrow we're going to have a reunion. I'm going to make a surf club for you guys, So he took all the kids from our little town and he did a surf club. So he drove us like to all the contests around Tahiti for years, all of that for free, just to see one of us succeed. So then he realized, okay, there's a good opportunity for me to succeed. So he introduced me to another good friend of mine. His name is Dave Kelly. He's an Australian that lives in Tahiti. He has a couple like surf shops over there. and he's the one like introduced me like into like professional surfing. He sent me to Australia to surf with the pro juniors and stuff. Like I never thought about that, but I didn't have money at that time. So he paid for everything. Like, okay, go there. You're going to do this, do that. But when I got to Australia, I didn't speak English. I couldn't speak English. So I was doing the comps. I was losing super early, like first round, second round, like every single time. Like I was losing my mind. I couldn't speak English and I was losing, you know. So the first year was so hard. The second year got better. I spoke like better English and I made a semi-final, sorry. And from that, he's like, okay, so he introduced me to a surf brand. It was Quicksilver at that time. And when I was 19 years old, that was my first like main sponsor. Yeah.
And then everything just changed. And all of a sudden you were getting these trips around the world, getting a chance to qualify. And before that, we saw you appear in Wildcards where you definitely had this instant success. Michel, I'm loving this journey. I want to dive into more of your career as you began on the championship tour back in 2009. We're going to take a quick break and we'll hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back. And we're back. Still hanging with Michel Bourez. Michel, I love your journey and talking about the people, the key players in your life that really made you realize your career, getting your first sponsor from Quicksilver, and then looking at the global spotlight. It was amazing when I look back at your first heat ever in the CT jersey. Michel, do you remember who was in that heat with you?
Oh wow!
Before your rookie year as a wild card.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was in France. I had to surf against, I think it was Andy.
You nailed it.
Yeah, I surfed. Yeah, in France against Andy. Yeah, it was. Imagine yourself like it's your first city event ever, and then you have to surf against Andy. You know, like
that's
like,
what you did.
Whatever.
You talked about the tough roads of Australia, trying to learn how to win. Well, not only did you surf with Andy, and Ben Dunn was in the heat as well, but you won that heat.
Yeah, I did. True.
Were you stressed out? You're looking at Andy Irons, a 3-time world champ, and it's your first heat on the main stage. What were you feeling at that time?
Oh, now you're saying like, yeah, I do remember a few things. Like I remember he was battling, and I had Andy, and I was like, okay, wow, whatever, just do whatever you can, like the best as you can. So I didn't expect much. I just did my job. I didn't want to surf like next to him, so I just let him do whatever he has to do, because he was going for the world title, and alongside with Kelly at that time. So I just stayed at my spot and did my whatever I had to do, and I ended up winning it. Yeah.
The interesting part of that, Michel, was the scenario kept repeating itself, even currently throughout your career. When you had big names, you would turn in great results. The next year, you got past Kelly in that event. You beat Parko the next year as a wild card. And then when I look at the eras you've been through, there's that time when it was Mick, Joel, Kelly winning everything. We're talking world titles. That was right when you're getting on tour. And I look at your records with Mick and Kelly and Joel, and you had some big heat wins against them. And it always reminded me of how you started when you were as a wild card. I felt like the biggest names maybe brought the best out of you. Was that something that you were actually pinpointing in your career where you felt more energy against the world champs on tour?
Oh, fully. They're the reason why you got on tour too, like from watching them in the surf movies or in the magazine, and, like being that kid that always wanted to be like them, to be able to surf against them, like to be able to have the chance to surpass them, like in a heat. It's to me was a great opportunity, and I looked that way like, okay, this is my chance, to shine. So I'm gonna do everything that I can to succeed, and that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. But the goal remained the same. I did my best. If I win, fine, perfect. If I don't, fine. I did the best I can do.
You had so many headlines attached to your name in big. Remember your rookie year at J Bay? There was all that sand that was kind of at the end of Super Tubes, and it was just funneling and unbelievable. And you had Mick Fanning.
Yeah.
Must have been round 2. And was that the heat? You had a perfect 10 in that heat. multiple barrels, that big hack, and all of a sudden Mick's out of the event in round 2 at J Bay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the waves were pumping, man, like as good as it gets. I never seen JB like that. I mean, I only go there like once a year, but like that year was so crazy. There was so many barrels. Like I remember like I got my 10 and I got an 8 or something after that, but I was winning and Mick was needing a 9 something, but he could get it. Like it's Mick, you know? And then that one wave that came and it was way too deep. He had priority. So that wave that came, like, and he looked at me and I was at this perfect spot. Like I would have get another 10 for sure, like no doubt, you know, and he looked at me and he lost his priority but going for it. And he didn't go. He let it go when I let it go as well. Just because he knew, you know, I was like, no, I could have get 2 10s. But he knew he had to let it go.
Unbelievable. That memory was huge for your career. You can't continue to have standout moments throughout your career against the best guys in the world. And it was cool to just look at your records with even like guys like Taj. You happen to be undefeated over Taj in your career. You've got a crazy streak with Kai Otten. You've never lost to him. 4-0. Kolohe and yourself, you're 5-0 over Andino, which those stats for us are crazy. And in sport, it makes it really exciting. But it also allures to you, since I have you here, is like, are there people that you go in with so much confidence where you go, okay, this is wrapped before it starts? As a veteran, you know this, the mental psyche of being like, I've already won before this heat begins. And then give me the contrast. Was there anyone that you actually didn't want to deal with because tactically you just didn't want anything to be a part of it?
It all depends on who do you surf against and where, especially, you know, what kind of waves. And it's how can I say, it's just a matter of what you see during that day, like the conditions and stuff. And I know, like, for example, I have more chance to win than anybody else at Keramas, for example, you know. So I know whoever I have for my hits, like it's gonna be a tricky one. But if I'm on the best waves, boom, that's it. I'm gonna win no matter what. But I don't know. There's a few people that I've been doing that, as you said, but like the opposite way was, you know, like it's weird. Like I had a lot of Medina's hits where I felt like, okay, it's on. And then he always ended up beating me, you know. I have some Julian's hits as well. And it's weird. And now Kelly, like every time I have Kelly, I always do good, but he always end up by beating me, you know. So I'm like, okay, I did my best, but come on, you know, like he's way older than I am, but he surfs as good as ever, you know. He's Kelly. So it's amazing that he might come. I hope he's gonna come for at least Margaret River, or, you know, one of those events where power is needed for surfing.
It's really cool how competitors say that. It's like the opportunity to be able to surf against Kelly. And you say how he gets you at the end, but you've actually had quite a few wins over him as well over your career. But what's that importance too of having the GOAT, the greatest of all time, in the jersey with another opportunity to surf against? It feels like obviously fans are going, oh no, we got to get him here. But it's a mutual respect with all the top 34 as well. When Kelly's there, it makes that event so much more intense and so much more important to win it sometimes.
Yeah, sure. You know, because it's Kelly. Kelly is the reason why we're all here now. To tell you, it is what it is. Like he brought surfing like at the highest level of our sport. Like he's the guy. He's the reason why I surf now in the world tour. You know, because of him. Because he's amazing. He's been like, he's still on tour. He's still proving that he can surf at his best level, especially at that age. You know, he's doing whatever it takes to be the champ. And like from outside of surfing, from eating well, like stretching and like no alcohol or whatever, like he's just that person that does everything perfectly. So it's a good role model for everyone. And to have him, to surf against him like in a surfing event is crazy, because like he's the person that does everything perfectly, you know. So you want to beat that person, you know, for like 30 minutes. 30 minutes. After that, we're still friends, but 30 minutes, no friends.
Well, by the way, you've had 4 wins against Kelly. Kelly has 6. So 10 matchups. He's leading 6-4. I feel like that's an incredible stat against the greatest of all time. You did bring up diet and how well he takes care of himself, which brings up a question for you from your fans on Instagram. Caroline J. Pate from the South Shore of Oahu really wants to know about your diet and how much it's changed in quarantine. How do you get food into your hotel? And have you been able to stay on any sort of diet restriction that you may have to compete soon?
Yeah. During the quarantine, like we eat less, that's for sure, because we don't do much. So
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have my kids, so I'm like, okay, go slow. But no, I'm trying to. I'm focused right now on the next 2-3 months, because we're gonna travel a lot. So this quarantine will be like the beginning of all of that. So I'm just eating well. Like I order like some food from Woolworth, like some a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits and stuff to eat in the morning, and we get food from the hotel as well. But sometimes it's not exactly what you're looking for, like you want to have some protein, you want to have some carbs as well. Like it depends on what you do. But like now, like I eat a lot of vegetable. I always eat salad at midday and at night. In the morning, I don't eat much. I just eat maybe like 1 or 2 bananas. It's going to last, and maybe a piece of bread, like when I'm hungry. And I love to have ginger in the morning. It lasts all day. I don't drink coffee. I try not to, because it doesn't do well on my body. I don't feel like I feel the energy, but at the same time, it's like it's not. I don't look at things straightly. When I eat ginger, it's the opposite. It's everything's good for me.
So is that the first thing that you intake in your body? Ginger?
Like I eat the banana first to have something in my body, and then I take the ginger. Yes.
And you'll feel energy from that, but more focused.
And more focused, yeah.
I might have to send this to Italo because he's probably on his 9th cup of coffee by now. I don't know.
yeah, for sure. That guy drinks so much coffee, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Have like a coffee company.
He should. I mean, it's great to hear how in tune you are. You know how food will make you react as an athlete, and you're trying to actually stay light as far as your intake of food. And which also leads me to another great question from Ralph Jamerson, coming from Florida, wants to know where the name Spartan came from, who gave it to you, and why do you think it stuck for so long? It's a great question, Michel. When you have a heat, we say Spartan as much as we can. It's got to be the coolest nickname out there.
Oh man, it's a pretty easy story actually. It's I'm pretty sure you guys remember that 300 movie, right? When Spartan movie came out. Yeah, it's it all comes out from that. Like we all watched with my friend Alain Rioux and went to the theater and watched it, and we all came back to the surfing spot at Teahupo'o, and we just like screaming Spartan, like like warriors and stuff, because it was actually big. And I remember like getting close out and I was screaming like Spartan, like that, and everybody was like, yeah, like something so childish, it's and then at the end of the day, it just stuck to my head, man. Like everybody started calling me Spartan, and then boom, till now.
I can't think of a better way to have a nickname though, because you were feeling like a Spartan that day. Those Spartans were some of the most feared warriors in ancient times. This is like 5th century BC. And then you're able to channel that a gigantic shofu. That's amazing story. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great crew to share that nickname with. Your friends always give you nicknames. Usually it's ones you don't like, but it's good if you could kind of channel your own, which is the way to go.
Yeah, this one's the lucky one, man.
Speaking of friends, Jeremy Flores, you guys have been lucky enough to share a lot of great memories on the road together, and now in Tahiti as well. And I can't get away from matchups as well. It's relatively even, 4-3, I think, in Jeremy's favor. And tell me your favorite heat that you've had with him before I tell you mine.
Oh, the best hit he ever had and we ever had was definitely the one at Teahupo'o.
Code Red
He was pumping.
2011.
Yeah, it was that was the year. He won the AI award as well because he made the quarters. But I lost that hit with maybe 19 points, something like that. And I was humbled.
That's so crazy.
I was humbled. Yeah, he got 20 points. He got 2 10s in that hit. So the waves were amazing. You know, he was like, as soon as the set comes, whoever had the priority was going, no matter what. You know, like the biggest one comes, boom, he goes. So he ended up like, I remember like there was one set that came and he was big and it was his turn, you know? And I was looking at him like, well, is he gonna go? Like, you know, like really? It's this one's big, you know, like this one's huge. And I remember him looking down and he went like, boom, start paddling as fast as he could, and he got a wave, and boom, everybody was screaming, and I was like, oh no, he got a 10. You know, I was like, oh no. I took the second one, but the second one was a bit smaller, and then they had the whitewash on it, you know, from his wave, so it wasn't as good as his one, but his one was just perfect, like the dream wave, and he ended up like with 2 10s, and you know, like it was one of those hits where you always remember your whole life.
So you just brought me there, Michel. And just to get everyone up to speed, Code Red, toe swell the day before that was on. Morning was so scary, and it was almost not surfable at what we thought at the time. There were still toe sets, and then the contest was on. And two good friends going head to head. Jeremy got the perfect heat, 2 10s. You had a 9.43 as your high mark, 8.7 to back it up. And the cool part about the meaning of that heat is that heat stands the test of time at one of the all-time greats in surfing history. And for you to share it with a friend like Jeremy, and for you to bring it up as your favorite heat, even with a loss, makes it really known how really monumental that matchup was.
Yeah. It's crazy because I always knew Jeremy was good at Teahupo'o. You know, he's always been one of the guy that he's the top for sure, like in the top 5 best surf tube rider in the world. To me, you know, he's Teahupo'o and pipe, boom, Jeremy is right there for sure. And so to have a hit against him, like in one of the places where he's actually the best at, to me was good too. You know, like he's one of the best. So to be able to beat the best, I have to go through him. But I never did. Since till now, you know, yeah.
Michel, looking at another year on tour that we can't compare to any others. Do you? Yeah, because I felt a lot of fire from you during the break, during the pandemic when the tour was off. I remember hearing from different sites or interviews that you were just so ready to compete. You were the fire was maybe lit more than ever. Are you still right there today? Is your commitment to winning a world title just as strong as it always has been?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, like as I told you before, like 2 weeks before I heard about from the WCSA it's on, you know, like I was released, like I was like, oh, finally I have a goal in my life. So now I am gonna train for something. You know, I have somewhere where I need to be. So basically the Olympics comes this year, so we have to be ready for that as well. And if we have the World Tour at the same time, wow, that's going to be such a good year. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to like get ready for a longer term, you know, like a long leg. And by the end of August, we're gonna have time to party. Let's say party, like be normal, like everyone else. But I'm just gonna focus for a couple months. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm fired up.
I think your your best result in your rookie season on tour was at Lower Trestles that year. You got a quarterfinal finish, and so you had that early success on a very high performance wave, releasing that unbelievable power carve that you have. And now with the news of the Rip Curl WSL Finals changing a year that's been changed so much, adds this excitement coming in September with the top 5 in the world facing off for a world title. You finished 5th in the world, you know, back in 2014. How do you see this format changing, and how do you think the viewing experience is going to be for fans around the world?
I like it, to tell you the truth. I really like it. I like the fact that the top five will be there surfing against each other, because it's new and it makes sense, you know. I just hope, that's my point of view, that they're gonna find a better spot to surf. I want the top five to surf like a huge, like a big, I don't know, like slab or something like that, like something like Teahupo'o or pipe, or something even more dangerous, you know, like to throw them out, you know, like, okay, now let's go. I just want the fans to be like focused on something like, whoa, scary, you know, and to see the potentials of the best world surfer, you know, like they're not only like the best world surfer in the contest, you know, they're the best surfers in the world in free surf as well. Like it's huge. Like when you look at them surfing, when we surf in the free surf, during the free surf before every single event, man, it's crazy. You can make a movie out of it. You can make one of the best surfing movie you could ever seen. People were throwing airs like different ways. Like I don't even look at them anymore, you know. So I just focus on myself. But it's crazy, man. Like people will like lose their mind watching that.
I agree, man. I think our production team is hustling to start making those features, because those free surfs are remarkable. It's like standing on the basketball court watching LeBron James warm up, but you have a free surf where it's a different energy, one-on-one heat. But think of the top 34 all trying to get out there, get their waves. The heat truly does begin at that moment. If someone could land something big in their competitor's face and they've got a heat coming up, that's a big blow right there.
Yeah.
You did mention airs, which has been fun. I remember seeing you do some big airs, even a big air reverse at the U.S. Open. But that brings me to a question on Instagram, because there is a really funny clip out there where you're teasing yourself about airs. It might have been with Seabass and a guy named Jacques Jansen. Did I say that right with the French pronunciation? Jacques?
Jacques.
Yeah, so he's from Sonoma, California. He's a very big fan of the Spartan. He loves your image. He thinks you're so interesting, power turns, but he wants to know about your favorite air. What's your favorite air, and what's the dream air that you would love to land one day?
I do a lot of airs at Papara, you know, the beach breaks, a lot of air reverse and stuff. I just try to stay busy, you know, try to do something new. But I always felt like the straight airs, you know, like big ramps, like straight airs, like you don't move, you just stay there as high as you can, you know, because you pretty much like are in the same motion like the whole time, you know, you don't really move. So it kind of like lasts longer in your mind, you know. So to me, like a big air, like big straight air could be like the one. I saw what's his name again, doing it at from Vans, the goofy footer, Charger. Like he's like 40 or something.
Oh, Nathan Fletcher.
Nathan Fletcher. Remember that air he did like not long
big
ago?
Straight air.
Was
that was insane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Oh, that's so cool. And that just it looks amazing, but like you said, for the person doing it, like yourself, it's like you're so high, and how good would that feel? Instead of being dizzy and spinning around, you actually get to enjoy that view, the height that comes with it as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that is awesome, Michel. We're loving our time here with our quarantine. You're changing everything in day 5 for me, because we know this is still the beginning. We've got all the way to day 14 to get to. We've got a little quarantine quiz for you that's going to come up here. You know what? Before we get to this quarantine quiz, we're going to take another quick break. We'll finish things up with the Spartan right after this. And we are back. Time for Michel's quarantine quiz. We've been asking these to everybody so far, Michel, so we could go through these quick. How many boards did you bring with you to Australia?
I brought 12 firewires, 12 of them. Yeah.
Did you reach out to anyone for advice coming into quarantine? And if you did, who were they? What'd they say?
Yeah, I talked to to Connor O'Leary.
Nice.
You know, because because he was here before. I asked him a few things, a few tips about the food, like the choice of the hotels and stuff. And yeah, he was the one.
Perfect. 3 of your must-have items for quarantine.
Jumping rope, phone, and a pants. That's it. You can live with it.
Perfect. What are your goals for this quarantine, for the next few days that we have here? Well, it's kind of a while, but till day 14, what are you trying to accomplish?
I'm going to try to lose weight, a couple kilos. I'm on the way, I'm pretty sure I'm going to succeed, pretty easy. But, and working on my cardio, I want to be able to go out of the quarantine and just be like a normal surfer, you know? My first surf will be like a normal session. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Amazing goal. Now it's time for your big question. The charter flight trivia question. Just to follow up with viewers that watched the Carissa Moore episode, she guessed 84 board bags, and the answer was 92. So she was incredibly close on her answer. For Michel's question, how many athlete guests were on board the WSL charter flight? So guests include children, but all the guests for our pro surfers. How many, Michel, were on the flight?
Oh, of the pro surfers, right?
Not the pro surfers, but their guests. So they're plus ones or their family.
Okay. I say 25.
Very close. 35 guests.
Oh, 35. Okay.
So for the men pro athletes on the CT, they had 27 guests. For the women, they had 8 guests, total of 35. Nice. Not too bad. Michel, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, man. You made my day of quarantine so much better. I'm so happy you're there with your family, and you're a true legend of the sport, my friend. We love every heat you surf, and we know that you surf with your heart and your passion. So I can't wait to see you out there at Newcastle.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Heaps. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Caught Inside, where we take you inside the 14-day quarantine with our championship tour surfers. We'll be dropping a new episode every other day, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Our next guest will be Tatiana Weston Webb. If you've got something you want to hear from Tati, hit me up on Instagram at Joe Turpel. We'll see you then.